Strode, and welcome to Straightforward. Today we are on location with our awesome friends at the Autism Hope Center, Marianne and the one and only Diane Pope, a trailblazer. I tell you, actually this morning my husband was telling his mother, which lives in another state, about the great work that you all do, how you started out with your son, which is now, what, 34, and when you first started, you couldn't get the support and the diagnosis and all of that you needed to help him. And of course, then we have Marianne, who's in the schools trying to help families get a plan now, so they don't have to be Diane trying to blaze the trail.
Right.
Yeah, so your son tell me about all of his great success.
He's hopefully a senior.
So how long has he been there? But that's okay.
Well, he's been in and out of school.
Okay.
He went to Columbus Tech for a bit. He's been at CVCC and back to CSU, which is where he started. And I'm not going to lie, it's been a struggle. I think now the universities are much more familiar with young adults on the spectrum.
Right. Well, he's always your baby.
Yeah,
okay.
He's my baby. And so it's easier to get the support. And he doesn't even need much support. He just has to use a laptop, which, believe it or not, in the beginning was a problem.
Right.
They didn't want him to use a laptop, and his handwriting.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now they don't even teach cursive writing,
Wow.
so I mean, he's in the right place. And so he drives a car.
He does. It took a year to teach him.
And you were brave.
And a lot of gray hairs.
I'm getting ready to start driver's ed for Evan.
Bless your heart.
It's coming.
Yeah. And he's had quite a few little fender benders. He's just not. Some people are natural drivers.
Right.
He's not. But he gets from A to B, and he enjoys his freedom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And hopefully this time next year he'll be graduated with a bachelor's in environmental science and a minor in biology.
Really? From
CSU.
Columbus State University. Yeah. And so when you first started out with him, you couldn't get any diagnosis. No. People kept telling you you were all off track. You were just
because people thought of autism as the Rain Man. And I know some people still do.
And that's the movie.
Yes.
Right.
And so he didn't fit into that category. I mean, he was reading non-fiction books about space at 3 years old.
Really?
Yeah, reading them, not just looking at the pictures.
But really reading.
Really reading them. And so nobody knew what to do with him. His behavior was terrible, but he knew his 1 through 15 times table, and
Really?
he was just, and they were, oh, he's just super smart. Just go with that. But the behaviors were just out of this world. And so I tried to get him diagnosed at Auburn, and they just said, oh, well, he's super smart, put him in a gifted program. But see, he wouldn't even cooperate with them to do that.
Okay, because he was marching to his own drummer.
Yeah, he only wanted to do what he wanted to do. And so they complained, well, his behavior, and they're trying to make him count 1 to 100. When he already knew his 1 through 15 times table. And I said, just give him a book. Just give him a book.
Right.
But no, they couldn't do that. He had to do the same as everybody else. And so it was a huge struggle. And I just had to buy books and read to try and figure out what was going on.
So you taught yourself.
I taught myself. And then because he changed through elementary school, and in many ways, I hate to say it, got worse.
Really?
Yeah, because they were putting more pressure on him to conform.
Right, to assimilate and be with the other kids and follow the script.
Yeah, so it was a problem, and so that was really when I have to figure this out. And I went back to Auburn and I said, okay, it's either autism or it's nonverbal learning disorder. You tell me which one it is, because it's one of them.
Right.
And it came back as autism. Asperger's at the time is what they used to.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
All the brilliant minds, and it took a mother. I'm just saying,
Yes.
We know things.
Yes.
It's God-given.
And there's actually some research on this that showed mothers can identify autism about 3 years before medical professionals in their children.
Really?
Yes.
How amazing is that? because we're looking at the growth and the development, and if you have other children, which your child is an only child.
She's an only child.
So
yeah.
you didn't have anything to go
No.
by, and you have 3 kids.
Yes.
So you kind of knew to look for something.
Well, I didn't know, I knew a little bit about autism, but I think I had some stereotypical understandings, right? But I knew there were some exceptions. I just didn't know a lot about it, but I knew something was not right. And that's where it is, that just mom's instinct, right? Like I may have not known to report tiptoe walking as a symptom to the doctor, right? But
so walking on their
Yes.
toes.
yes,
Really?
yes, very common, and he still does if he's barefooted. I don't think he does when he has shoes, but it can kind of be hard to tell with the lift. But yeah, it's super common, and the reading early hyperlexia is a common symptom too. So any one of these things by themselves would be, a quirk.
Right.
But then you start to put all these things together, it's a constellation, it's a symptom pattern that comes out to autism. And so I wouldn't have known.
See, I just learned that
what?
as many times as we've been together, this is life after COVID. We were together before COVID. I never knew about the tiptoeing.
Yes, yes, yeah.
quite common.
He's like to stay underneath blankets, heavy weight on him all the time. He would pile them up and like dive down into it and dig up and, like a little, meerkat or,
Like a squirrel,
Yes.
leaping out a hole, really?
Yeah, it's that pressure on them. And much like, I hate to say this, but this is where I really learned it from, is Temple Grandin. She's a famous lady with autism. She has a PhD in animal behavior. But when you take cattle through the chute to vaccinate them and stuff, they have a little machine that pressurizes. Right, to calm them down. It's the same.
Slaughter them too.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same kind of mechanism. That deep pressure
Really?
can help calm individuals, and that's why these weighted blankets are super popular now, right?
Right.
It's neurodivergent.
Someone actually gave me one for a gift.
Yes, so it's good to the wider public too, but this is just a lot of these things. That's what people don't realize come from the special needs community, but they benefit so many people.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
See, so now parents that didn't know, they do know, get that blanket, especially people traveling with kids, and they can't calm them down and that kind of thing. So I don't need the weighted blanket because I'm a girl over 25, but no, I might can bless somebody else with that blanket because I need to be able to put my feet out of the cover in the middle of the night when I'm trying to adjust my body
That's your
temperature.
thermostat.
Yes.
Your thermostat.
Okay, so what we're going to do, take our first break, go to our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front lines for veterans every day. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Charmaine K. Crabb at RE/MAX Champions Realty, 4800 Armour Road. As an associate broker of residential sales and property management, Charmaine takes your business personally. It's not about finding a dream home, but finding a home that is perfect for you. Call Team Crabb today at 706-392-6116. Welcome back to Straightforward. We're continuing this very important conversation about autism and the things that mothers should be looking for. We're getting ready to move into the new school year, and I just want to make sure that parents are on board with a plan and a strategy and not last minute crisis and want a response and a reply. And I've had that because people know that I know you all. They've seen you on the show over the years, and they'll say, can you have that lady call me? No, really, that's true.
Yes.
And they're in crises, and the school year has already started, and it's, we don't need that. I want people to get a plan now.
Yes.
So if you need an IEP, let's be clear, that's what we're gonna need, and let's get a strategy for it.
Yes.
So that's what you're doing every day, helping
Yes.
families.
Yes. And I will tell you, it's super easy. I mean, sometimes you can be talked out of it or whatever, but I encourage everybody, this is your child. You're with them 24/7 for years on end. You know him better than any teacher, better than any doctor.
Yeah.
I say him, but girls also get
Right.
autism, right? So
Right.
not to create any confusion, but you know him, you know your child best. Speak your truth and stand tall on it. You are an expert on your child. Okay? So if you feel like your child has a disability, you write a letter. A physical letter. It can be an email, it can be handwriting.
We're not doing verbal.
No.
Documentation
Absolutely.
beats
Yes.
conversation every day. I tell people that. Well, I called and said, I said, no, you need to put it in writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Prove it.
Yes.
You have to, the best way to protect your child and the integrity of this process is to go through it as if you may end up in court.
Okay.
It sounds negative to
No, but
people,
that's a good thing.
but like you write a contract so you don't end up in litigation, right?
Right,
Because we
right.
already understand. I'm going to do X and you're going to pay me B.
Right.
Right? That
Right.
stops conflict. So this is the same thing. When the communication is clear, it's documented, we can refer back to it. It stops a lot of issues. And so all you have to really do is write them a letter, the teacher, the principal, somebody in
Guidance
authority.
counselor,
Mhm.
right.
And if your child has a diagnosis, go ahead and include that in the letter, but tell them, I'm worried about my child's learning. I believe they may have a disability. I'm seeing him struggle with reading or math or, social skills, production of the R sounds, whatever it is,
Right.
anything and everything, because you have to raise the suspicion of what is that it's a disability, not just that there's some issues
Right.
that they could benefit from a little speech
Because
therapy.
a lot of times not always, sometimes people want to take the path of least resistance.
Yes.
And it's not always the right path.
Yes.
And they allow themselves to be intimidated, I think is a big problem. And they think, well, these are professionals, they know better than
And they
me.
just
Yeah.
back down
And-
because,
yeah.
well, I don't have the masters or the PhD.
Right. But you know your child.
Yes, yeah, it's super important to stand in your power and your authority as a parent, and claim what you know to be true, and it's about testing, right? So this is what your letter is essentially asking for. You're proclaiming that you're concerned that your child may have a disability and that you would like them tested. So it's no harm, no foul. A psychologist is going to come in, ask them some questions, play some games,
Right.
and the adults will kind of do their businesses. There will be a couple meetings, but if the child doesn't have a disability, then everything's fine. Now,
Right.
sometimes, because it's based on symptomology reported, right? If I don't know tiptoe walking is a
I didn't know
symptom,
that. I just learned that.
right? You can't report it if you don't know it's a symptom. So a lot
Right.
of times we get testing and it comes back as nothing at all. Well, that's because the right things, they were only with the psychologist for an hour. Mom
Right.
didn't know to report, this constellation of symptoms.
Right.
But still something is not right.
It's not
Yeah.
right.
But also too, when you testify the school district, the only thing they're really looking at is how you're affected educationally,
Yes.
which is
Ah.
only a small amount of the
Right.
big picture.
Right.
And so really you need an independent evaluation from
Okay,
a
so
psychologist.
if you can have both, that's good.
Yes.
In-house and then an independent.
Yes.
Right.
And also, too many parents rely on the speech from the school and don't do outside speech.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that that's probably group, a whole, 3 or 4 of them at least, once a week. And it's not really concentrating on your child's issues.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I think if you can get private speech services, private occupational therapy, physical therapy, ABA, whatever it is that your child needs, certainly the sooner you get all these things in and done, the better. Early intervention is key. So, of course, do that if you can. Not all people have access to insurance or,
Right.
At least insurance pays now, which
Yes.
it didn't, 6,
Early
7
on.
years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
It's very new.
So with the IEP, if your child had an IEP in elementary school and now they moved on to middle, or they had it in middle going on to high school, we don't need to be embarrassed about anything. We need to continue the path.
Yes.
Because we want the child to be successful, and we don't want to worry about ego or worried about who thinks what.
Right. This is so important because sometimes parents are talked out of IEPs by even well-meaning principals, and they go, well, you want your child to go to college, don't you? You know, it's a kindergartner who needs speech services.
Right.
Like, you know, since when do colleges check your kindergarten resume? You know? I mean, it's ridiculous. But that's why it's important to do it early if you can, because a lot of kids can get services early on and be fine. My middle child, a lot of people don't realize this, my middle child had an IEP too. And he just graduated from Columbus High with a 4.25 or something. I mean, you know, but he had an IEP in elementary and a 504 in middle. And he's good, you know, he's mature.
So you were able to get all of those things addressed early.
So so that's why it's important. But some kids do need it forever, and that's okay. And that's my
and it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Exactly.
Well, people will know you special ed. See, we need to remove labels and stigmas.
Yeah. Well, a child learning in special ed is better than a child not learning in general ed, right?
Exactly.
And now it's done differently. So these kids are not in a separate classroom in the back of the school by themselves, you know, not being taught, being babysat like in years past. Now, are there some issues? Yes, but most kids do not know who's who because they're all being pulled and given extra help as needed.
Okay.
You know?
So it's not like the old
it's not as obvious.
Set them aside if the class is labeled
Correct.
whatever that is, that's the special ed and all of that. So everybody is integrated and that's really good. Well, what we're gonna do now is take our final break, go to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Carter Counseling Services in the White House at the Elms, 1846 Buena Vista Road, providing services to enhance the quality of life for clients by promoting healthy, stable interactions within relationships, counseling support to assist individuals in positive personal growth. Call Mr. Carter today at 706-570-8698. The Miley Agency, 4903 Armour Road. Gerald L. Miley and William Ripsinger have been providing comprehensive reviews and insuring families in Georgia and Alabama for more than 50 years. The Miley Agency will work non-stop to find you the best policy at the best price. You can rest assured that your information is secure, confidential, and protected. Call today at 706-996-2045. The Columbus Memory Center, 7196 North Lake Drive, Suite A, Columbus. Dr. Jonathan Liss is a board-certified neurologist and sleep specialist committed to battling Alzheimer's by preserving independence, offering you the opportunity to get your memory number for free, the only vital sign for brain health. Call today at 706-327-4000 or visit columbusmemorycenter.com. Roz Cafe and Catering Services. Choose Roz as your personal chef, knowing every dish is prepared with attention to the finest details and extra care. She will make your next event one to remember with 2 convenient locations to serve you, 390 Batzel Avenue, Fort Benning, and 3418 Buena Vista Road. Visit rozcafe.com. Welcome back to Straightforward. We are continuing this very important conversation, and I really want parents, if you have children or grandchildren on the autism spectrum, you need to listen to this segment very, very closely. You're going to get some very important information about how you should plan for the future of your child or your grandchild. Diane, we were having a sidebar earlier this morning, and you were saying that they need to plan. And we talked about trust.
Yes, this actually came up this week, which is what made me think about it. That many families don't know that you can, if you have a child on the spectrum that would need any kind of Medicaid or Social Security or any kind of benefits like that, they cannot be left any money or any property, because that will remove those benefits.
Their eligibility.
The Medicaid and so what you have to do is put it into a special needs trust. So they can still have the benefits of it, but it is a addition to the Medicaid and the Social Security as opposed to being left with nothing.
Right, because if you pass on, of course, you know, that's the natural order. It
Right.
doesn't always work that way. But if you have children and they're on the spectrum and you pass on, they have to be prepared to continue
Right.
to live
Right.
once you've moved
And
on.
I know some parents do think, well, you know, he'll get the house and he'll get the insurance, but then he won't have Medicaid. So how's he going to afford
Health care. Right.
over a period of time? Yeah, and it's very troubling.
You have to have money to pay for the electricity and the power, and one of our other friends, her son just lost his Social Security because her name was on her other kids' checking
Yes.
accounts.
Yes.
So
Wow.
they're very, very strict when you
Yeah.
have no more than $2,000.
Yeah.
So this is true when your child is under 18 and
Okay.
your name is attached to other accounts. That counts for you too.
Yes.
Even though those children are out of the home, grown, in the military, that counts, and
Right.
that child lost his Social Security. But when you get older and your child needs to live independently, if you leave them that house and it's not protected under
The
the
interest.
financial regulations that are available, then they can lose all their Social Security, their Medicaid.
Wow.
And on the subject of Social Security, a lot of people don't know that they might have been denied Social Security when the child was younger because it was based on their income. But when they hit 18, you have to reapply, and it's based on the child's income.
So they become a family of one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then are they eligible for food stamps, or do we know about that?
They can get but food stamps for one person is so little. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the paperwork probably,
But
it's
I
more-
mean, it all
yeah.
helps. The sad thing about it is that that they can't get any. They get their Social Security, but there's no other help as far as for housing and that sort of thing, which is not true for people that have mental illness.
really?
So the balance is just very difficult, and so a lot of adults on the spectrum have a difficult time living outside the parent's home.
See, and that's things, people need to plan for that.
Yes.
And if you're no longer gonna be on this side helping to look out for your child,
Right.
you need to get a plan now.
And you can fund a special needs trust with an insurance policy.
Okay,
Which
so
is
for
what-
example, my life insurance, which my child, he's not on the spectrum, but just as an example,
Right.
then it can be set up.
Right.
So that whatever wants the burial,
Goes
then it
in-
goes into that trust
Yes.
to help with their living
Right.
for the
Right.
rest. That's very important.
Yes.
And then you were saying about there was some money that would be available for families. It's what? Through disability, it's a stipend or something?
Yeah, so family support funding.
Right.
If you have a child with a developmental disability, so not just autism, it could be Down syndrome or cerebral palsy or, you know.
ADHD.
Yeah, ADHD, you can get up to
Oh, ADHD
Yes.
too, okay.
You can get up to $3,000 per year to get services and supports that help the individual stay in the home. So they're a payer of last resort like Medicaid. So let's say your insurance won't cover equine therapy, then you can get it covered through family support
What is
funding.
equine therapy?
With horses.
Horses.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I want John in
Yes.
public. See, you live in that world.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
When you live in the world,
Right.
acronyms and
Yeah.
other terms, we
Yeah.
have to make sure we're
Yeah.
educating our
With
viewers.
that-
Go ahead.
You're so, no, you're so right,
You're
because
right.
it used to be very frustrating
Yeah.
to me as a parent.
Right.
But when you get in the kind of industry,
Right.
the jargon just flows.
Right.
And so I appreciate that so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, we want parents to know.
Yes.
That's stuff that
Yes.
they can get paid for, it gives them an
Right.
outlet, other activities, because every child is not gonna be a football star, soccer star,
Right.
you know, basketball star, and there are activities that they can participate in.
Yes, yeah, and,
Yeah.
and even little things, you know, the weighted blankets or lap pads, or if your child needs compression wear, so like the Under Armour type stuff that squeezes, that feels
Right.
good too. If you can't get that paid for and they need that to help calm them, or
And you get that at New Horizons
Yes.
DD here in town.
Oh,
Not-
really?
Not New Horizons Mental Health, but New Horizons DD.
Yeah.
Okay, New Horizons DD,
DD.
which is the medical business not the mental health state
It's
organization.
the developmental disability
Okay,
side of it.
developmental
Yeah,
disability.
because it's separate funding.
Okay, so we need to know that, so people don't go to the Comer Avenue place saying
Because
that.
they'll say we don't do autism.
Exactly, okay, so we got that straight now,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And so you all are a nonprofit, you work so very hard, I've seen your work over the years. I wish I could just write you $1 million check, so we're gonna ask everybody that's watching to write you all at least a $500,000 check. If they can't write $1 million check. No, and you all do this for free. I mean, you know, no one is getting paid, and it's a big sacrifice, your families and everything. So, when is that fundraiser, the big gala, but people don't have to attend, they can just still send those checks?
14th of October is the Hope for Autism Gala at Green Island Hills.
Okay.
And we're really excited to be able to do it again. We haven't been able to do it because
I know,
of COVID.
since COVID, yeah.
And it's one of our biggest fundraisers, so it's really hurt us to not be able to do it. And that will get us sort of back on our feet so we can start offering more programs again too, which is really what we want because we've had to cut back because of COVID. But yeah, so please send us a check. Big or small, hopefully big.
Even better, come party. That's
Yeah,
my
right,
preference.
yeah.
I'd love to
Okay,
see
and
you
so
too.
what
So we have a blast at the gala.
Okay.
So much fun.
You must come.
I was there before at Green Island with
Yeah.
the live band and all of that.
Well,
Yeah.
last time we had the the magic mirror.
Oh, okay.
Oh gosh.
And they have a new box thing.
Oh, really?
Selfie studio. Yes, I just saw it.
Okay.
So anyway, we must go ahead and book that.
Yeah.
So what were you asking me? Sorry.
So where are they gonna
Excited.
send the money if they don't come to the gate?
Post Office Box 6028, Columbus 31917.
Post Office Box
6028,
6028,
Yeah.
Columbus
31917.
31917. Well, I want to thank you all for all that you do. We're looking forward to the gala, and we're going to just keep asking for money for this great cause. Thank you so much.
Gloria. Thank you. We really
This has been
appreciate it.
straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.